From the Watergate building in Washington, this is Hotline TV. Now here are Hotline editors Amy Walter and John Mercurio.
Welcome to Hotline TV. I'm Quinn McCord.
And I'm Amy Walter. Third quarter fundraising numbers coming in fast and furious. Quinn, who's looking to come out on top? Biggest winners, biggest losers. What are you seeing?
Well, you can't dispute that Hillary Clinton is the big winner. She wasn't last quarter. I mean, what's fascinating is that Obama was able to beat her last quarter. And I remember at the time people were wondering, the disconnect between the fundraising enthusiasm for Obama and the fact that the polls weren't there.
Right.
And people were wondering, well, will the polls go up to Obama?
To meet him, right.
Or will the fundraising come down? It looks like the fundraising has kind of come down a bit back to where you might expect. Now, that's not to take anything away from Obama. I mean, he's still outraising the Republicans, probably combined.
Well, yeah.
And he's a first-time candidate.
Absolutely.
So nothing to take away from him. But, I think you're just starting to see the smart money follow Hillary. Her polls are staying ahead, and the money is following that.
The money is following. So there you go, follow the money. No, look, Hillary Clinton did do exactly what the campaign MO has always been. Wherever Barack Obama sees an opportunity for an opening, she shuts it down. And so not only did she choose today to release her fundraising numbers, right? The day that was supposed to be about Barack Obama talking about Iraq and the 5th anniversary of his vote against, or his how he came out against the war, and she, obviously contrasting that with her. Instead, she gets to make it about fundraising numbers. Now, he outraised, he has total dollars raised for the primary. He has raised a couple million more, but when we're talking about $160 million combined, something close to that, $2 million ain't gonna make much of a difference. So she did, again, get to dominate a day that was supposed to be about Obama. The fact is, he does have the money still. Like, we can parse all these numbers a million times, who has the donors, who doesn't. The fact is, what he does with that money seems to be the big factor too, right? And it goes right back to your point, which is, he has the enthusiasm, but not the message. He needs to be able to sell himself as the alternative, experienced alternative to Hillary Clinton. He hasn't been able to do that, and he's not going to be able to control the terms of the debate now.
I mean, he's got to pick a state to make a stand. I mean, where is he going to? You have all this money. Where are you going to spend it? Is he going to spend it in Iowa? I guess that's the most likely place, because he seems.
Well, it's a place where he certainly has the. He's in contention, and it's the first state, and that could certainly set the tone. But can we look at some of the second and third tier candidates for just a moment?
Yeah.
You have folks like a Chris Dodd or a Joe Biden who've been really trying to break out somehow, trying to make a stand. $1 million, $3 million.
There's kind of a odor of Tommy Thompson around some of these characters, and that's not what you want to smell like.
So, Quinn, what does a Tommy Thompson smell like?
Cheese,
yeah,
of course.
Of course.
What kind of cheese? I think he used to smell more like a pleasing mozzarella, and it's becoming more of a sharp cheddar as he's aged, or as the campaign sort of.
I was going to go into the blue cheese category, but anyway, I guess we should move on and talk about Republicans for a second. Obviously, the big story that, as usual, they're behind Democrats. The enthusiasm gap is significant. To me, the one number that stuck out more than anything is the likelihood now that Ron Paul is the Mendoza line, right? That he now is setting the standard. And why doesn't he get the dark horse moniker? Why is it Mike Huckabee?
Well, I don't want to get any nasty emails or anything, but I think some of his supporters are so, let's say, enthusiastic that may reflect in a way that would not be beneficial. I mean, the bottom line is, Huckabee looks more like what your standard Republican nominee would be, a governor, a Southern governor, straight down the line conservative. I mean, how do you categorize Paul?
But it's also hard to categorize Mike Huckabee too, because when you listen to him, especially from an economic populist message, and at the same time he's trying to run as a social conservative, but he's not running on that exclusively. So finding a niche, I think, has been very hard for him to, certainly as a fundraising niche. So, now what we're looking at is, bottom line on the Republican side, nothing's really changed. Romney had to give himself more money. Fred Thompson had fundraising down there at the same level as a Bill Richardson or a John Edwards, and that's sort of what we're left with, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're still waiting to see Giuliani's numbers, I think. But you're right, it's probably nothing is going to be different. And pretty much where we started this process.
Isn't that fun? So we came all the way back around. That's just,
Yeah.
we just spent all that time basically stopping where we started. All right, so it's all the time we have for today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of Hotline TV.